You'll demand respect and time by consistently showing up. Any of you can do that. So I would just challenge you guys to find 2 to 3, 4, whatever people that is. 2 competitors would be great. 2 mentors would be great. If you can get 1, that's still better than none. If you get 1 competitor, that's still better than none. But if you have 5 people that you're consistently talking to on a weekly basis, you're gonna keep leveling up. You're gonna keep growing. And that's the whole goal here. That's why all of you guys are here, is because you want me to hear something that I would say to help your business. Well, if you're not listening, I just gave you some pedigree for you to level up your game. And all of you can do that. It's not anything special, it's just communicating with people. And FFL is filled with a bunch of really great people who are more than willing to help you without a monetary value. I don't know how many times Cody has talked to people that aren't on our team to help them. But what has that done? It makes him a better leader. So that's that mental barriers. We don't want to bother them. We don't want to, they're busy. We're all busy, but we all got time. I'll tell you that much. We all got 24 hours in the day. And taking 10 to 15 minutes isn't that big of a deal. And you're actually sharpening their tool or their whatever you want to call it, their iron, right? To get them to become a better person. So if you just think about people that way, all of a sudden you're never bothering anybody. You're actually helping them get better, they're gonna help you get better. So I just shared that with you guys because I think it's super important. That's what held me back the longest. And there's nothing wrong with Jordan at all, but like I knew that I wanted to sell more than he ever sold. So how could I only talk to him and expect to sell more than he sold when he can't get me there? So I had to go find someone to take me there, to get me to that point. And then obviously, as you go on, you learn. It's just complete failure. You don't know how many times I've failed in this business, so much. But what really happens is you just get over the mountain of fear, and you're on the other side of the mountain, and you're fearless about leads. You're fearless about dumping money into recruiting. You're fearless about a chargeback. You're fearless about an agent quitting. Because there's more to come as long as you keep going. But we have to climb that mountain, and it's a slippery mountain. I'll tell you what, you're gonna fall down, hit your head, your nose is gonna be bleeding, not really, but it feels like it. Feel like you got punched in the face, but you're just climbing this mountain of fear, because we all got it. It's okay to be fearful. Like, don't have to be some brave person or anything, but like, you have to get to that other side. And on the other side, it's a great view. The air is fresh. You know what I mean? But it takes time. And that mountain, the cool part about that mountain and climbing it, you dictate that time frame. It can be a year, it can be 6 months, it can be 3 months. You get to compress time with your work ethic, which is cool. Because I can't hold you back from learning this, because it's all up to you at the end of the day. And so if we can climb that mountain and get to the top of that mountain quicker, now we can turn around and try to help more people get up that mountain. And it's hard. And there's these different things that are gonna pop up in your brain, in your mind, those mental barriers. And I just think about all these different mental barriers that I had, and I was scared to death of mortgage protection. I don't know why, because they told me to run final expense. It was simple, cut and dry. Mortgage protection, they're gonna be smart, they're gonna be, they got jobs,
right.
They got jobs, they got life insurance, you know what I mean? But I put this mental barrier in my head that they were gonna be so much smarter than me, and then once I got into mortgage protection, I'm like, oh, this is still the same thing, asking the right questions. Yes, they might be a little bit more educated, that's okay. But at the end of the day, it was just something that I put in my own brain. And we all are gonna do that, whatever that is, if it's a lead type or a specific type of vendor or whatever. But the way I look at it is, if you can just look at that barrier in your mind and say, you're not gonna stop me, and you get on the other side, that's when you grow. That's when you grow the most, is that uncomfort zone. So every time you get something in this business that you're afraid of or telling you not to do it and you do it, man, that's hell of empowerment. And that's how you build confidence, because you overcame your mind and just did it. Like that triple dial, like how many of you are scared to triple dial? I mean, it's okay, you don't have to admit it in front of everybody, but I was, and I'll admit it, I was. I dial them twice and I'm like, think about it 2-3 times, oh, next lead, you know, whatever, keep it moving. But then I started dialing that third dial, and then all of a sudden I started booking more appointments. All of a sudden I started making more sales. So when you get these different mental barriers, like, man, I don't know if I want to do it. I pull up to the house, no, I need a door knock, keep going. How many of you have done that, right? We probably all have done that, right? But if you get the hell out of the car, knock on the door, your heart beating because you don't know what's going to happen, right. That is you growing. That's you taking a step forward. You're growing or dying. It's that simple. I mean, it sounds a little bit harsh, but you ain't staying the same. You're either going forward or going back. And what I realized is I like to just keep going forward, because if you go back, now you got to take another step to move forward. So I share all of this with you guys because I was in your guys' shoes. I'm nothing special, I promise you that. I just became passionate about helping people. I knew that I knew since I was a child that I like to help people. I went to school, got a recreation and parks management degree, because at 18 they told me I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. So I tried to figure out a degree that was somewhat helping people. And so I got into that, and I soon realized that there's no money in Parks and Rec. I love Parks and Rec, but there ain't no money in it. And so I knew I was destined for more, or to actually be able to impact people another way. And I thank God that my resume sucked, because it led me to Family First Life. That's what the cool part is we don't need to be some special person. Our resume can suck, no one can call us back, and we can make this opportunity work for us. And so every time you get that weird thought in your brain, like, I don't want to do this all, or whatever hesitation that you get with whatever part of this business, I promise you on the other side of that is success. Picking up the phone and calling somebody. Oh, man, I don't know what he's going to say, what he's going to do. Like, I heard it a couple weeks ago with Sean Mike, and it just hit so different. He was like, we all are so worried about what other people think of us. That's what it's just how we are bred. The society is, right? And so when we're dialing the phone, we're so damn worried about what's going to happen. What are they going to say? Are they going to hang up on me? Are they going to answer? Is this going to go well? If we would not care what they thought or how the situation would go, you would book a lot more appointments. You would make a lot more sales. So just hit that button. Just hit the button. That's all you got to do. And I booked more appointments off the third dial than I've ever done the first or second dial in 2.5 years. So just, you got to get over these different things. And I get it. I was all in your guys' shoes. And that's what's cool is as you progress through this business, you look back and you laugh at something, and then it's just a part of the story. It's just a part of the story. Like, I tell everybody that the first 4 months of this business were horrible for me. I was spinning the wheels the whole 9 yards. And at that time, it felt like the world was ending. I couldn't do anything right. So I get it, but hindsight, it's a part of the story that you get to share with people later on. You just gotta keep going. And you can make a joke out of it, or whatever it is. But that's just a little bit about me, guys. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But I just wanted to make that very clear that I've been in your shoes before, and I'm no different than you, other than I didn't quit, and I started to talk to more people. That's really like all you have to do is not quit and talk to more people. This is a communication business. The better communicator you become, the better agent you become, the better agency owner you become. Like, on the other side of me thinking John was so busy, now we're here in Atlanta. Now my guys are meeting people they never would have met before. They're getting to see John in action and explain different things. Like, no one has ever taught us to look at how many appointments are booked versus issued pay numbers. Like, that's so crucial to me, and I've been going 2.5 years without ever thinking about that at all. Because trying to tell a guy who writes 6,000 that he's no different than the guy writing 40 is really hard to just say. But if you can put a number on it, numbers don't lie. So now we have something that we can immediately implement into our business and apply, and I imagine is gonna increase sales. So that's just a little bit about me. We could talk about whatever you guys wanna talk about. I'm just honored and blessed to be here with you all, and I don't ever take any of these things lightly. I put my heart into it, and once I get fired up, I start going. You guys can't tell, because I love what we do. And it's not that I love selling life insurance, I just love helping people. And I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and I think that like if you've never really had an emotional experience with life insurance, it's hard to sell life insurance if you don't really care about people. Because you have to care about people to be able to actually sell life insurance. Now, if you've had a story or an instance with life insurance, now you have everything in the world to share with your clients. Like my grandma died with no life insurance, and we're putting money in. And it was a year before I got here at Family First Life. 2 of my first 3 death claims at Family First Life were my grandpa and my stepdad. So if I wouldn't have joined Family First Life, his dad would have died without any life insurance. But he got paid. That's what's cool to me, right? And I share those stories with people because it's impactful, right? And so if you don't have a story, use that story. Use other people's story. Willis has a hell of a story that he utilizes in the home every time. And I won't share his story because you guys need to get out of your comfort zone and ask him and introduce yourself. I'm not gonna tell you his story, go find out his story. But the dude writes $50K like every single month. So he tells his story and people feel that. Now it's not actually selling, it's helping. And if you take that approach to your sales, it changes the whole ball game. But that's just a little bit about me.
You don't have no problems talking, right?
No, I'm telling you, once you get me going, I'll go.
Hey, most of us are that way. What y'all got for questions? Because if not, I'll ask for you. Yeah, we're gonna play that good.
No. Well, you got 40 questions, so you might as well get started.
You'd rather I get better than you get better?
No, I want to hear your questions too.
Well,
So, how many agents do you currently have?
I could actually tell you. You just got the IP report. This month, 128 have gotten paid. We were down
Right,
6.
agents, okay.
128 have gotten paid. Last month, we were at 142.
And you've been hiring for how long?
2 years now.
2 years.
Yep, Michaela started in 2020. She was my first hire. That's my girlfriend.
Okay. And are you utilizing more social media or hiring platforms?
We've really utilized social media to our advantage. We've tried, obviously, putting out job ads and these different things, but I don't think that you have to be some crazy talented on social media. You just have to be consistent with social media. And then you have to consistently be adding people into your network, or you're going to continuously be marketing to the same people over and over and over. So like a tip that Ashley Gronberg has given us before is wake up, make 5 new connections, and send out a couple messages to those people. So go on to Instagram, so you guys can use this tip, this is her tip. You can go on to Instagram into the search feature, and you can put hashtag door-to-door, hashtag pest control sales, hashtag solar sales. And then it'll come up with top, it'll come up with accounts, it'll come up with people. And you go to people, follow, and don't be weird like we were talking about, like, hey John, how are you? It's like no one's gonna respond back to you. Prime example, a guy that we just brought on board about a month ago with Jared. I knew I wanted to recruit him, but I knew I didn't want to vomit on him or more or less, attack him. So I followed him and I waited for his story. This is a Josh Williams tip. He waits and comments on their stories to engage with them about their life, not about what we do, right? And it's funny, it was a simple story of him winning a bet. Like he won like $300. I was like, good stuff, dude. And he's like, thanks, man. Left it at that. 2 days later, put up another story about betting. I'm like, man, you must be a betting man. Like you got the good odds. You need to teach me. And he's, then we had this conversation. And then I reached out to him again on another story, and then I asked him, like, he was flying. I'm like, man, what do you do? Like, you're flying all over the place. I knew exactly what he did. And he was like, I'm in life insurance. I'm like, okay, cool, me too. Are you still selling? And I knew his model, they sell in person. I was like, you still selling in person? And he's like, yeah, we do everything in person. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you like to travel a lot. How does that work? Like, are you traveling for